Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Very excited to have an absolutely terrific actor, someone that I've enjoyed for a long, long time. Emmy Award-winning actor from terrific series, The Shield, The Commish, American Horror Story. Ben Grimm, Fantastic Four, the great Michael Chiklis. How are you, buddy?
Great, man. Thanks. That's lovely of you to say. I appreciate it.
Yes. Most thing I like about you is a fellow New Englander, Rhode
Nice.
Island, Lowell, Mass, like an hour away from each other. Concerned about my Red Sox. We got to win 2 out of 5 games to get into into the playoffs, baby.
On the magic number one, aren't we? We won yesterday.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
magic number one now, pal. Here we go. We got this. We got
Yeah.
this.
I was a little like this on the Rossi Devers trade, but I think
We all were, but we didn't know what was happening behind the scenes.
right.
So, I mean, and a guy can poison a dugout if he's thinking he's all that,
Yeah.
Look good.
Yeah. Exactly. And then Roman Anthony, what a beast that guy looks like he's going to be.
Oh,
You know who he reminds me of, and he's got his number, is one of my heroes. Yaz was one of my heroes, and Freddie Lynn. He's
Freddie
got the
Lynn
Freddie,
reminds me of Fred Lynn. He does.
he's
Absolutely.
got the look, and he's got his
Yeah,
number. And
yeah. I
oh my
looked I
God.
was like, "It's Fred Lynn," and man, he's a stud. He can hit the ball. He can field. He's phenomenal. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Rice and
That's
Lynn, the home run twins, baby. Yeah.
yeah, so good. Remember,
Yeah. Yeah.
so we're contemporaries. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
you look
Yeah.
younger than me, probably a decade younger than me.
Yeah. You look good. You look good, man. Do you get
Let's
back to
talk
New
the
England much?
senior, man. You got to see this. You got to see this.
I am. Let's talk about this movie, The Senior. So this movie, which is why you're on, and we're going to focus on that, is a really amazing story about, it's a true story, and it's about a gentleman who's 59 years old and goes back to college
Yeah.
and basically tries out for the football team and gets on. But I want to let you fill in some of the gaps and tell people real quick what the
Mike
theme is.
Flint, it's an amazing man, an
Mhm.
amazing story. Yeah, but the guy, football's at the center of this story, but it's really, it's a redemption tale. It's about a guy who, when he was a senior in high school, he was the captain of his football team in college. First week of school, he gets thrown off the team and thrown out of college for fighting. He was a hothead. There was some violence in his life from his past, from his dad, and he kept on taking it out on people, and he got thrown off the team, and he left in shame. And 37 years later, the school reached out to him to invite him to a reunion, and he thought he had received it in error. And his wife was like, "No, the guys reached out to you. They wanted you to come, and I want you to go because I want you to get this guilt off your back." So he went down there really to make amends, to say, "I'm sorry." This was very spontaneous. He went down there really to say sorry to his old teammates because they were supposed to be undefeated, and they ended up having a 500 season in their senior year. Well, they looked at him and they were like, "Hey, man, we don't care about that. It's like, that's ancient history. We love you. Want to, And they were like, "Hey, man, you look great. You look like you could run with him." And he was like, "Well, I probably could." He was a strength trainer for like Texas A&M. He's an animal, right? And they were like, "Well, you're eligible." And he's like, "What? I'm what?" And he didn't realize that 18 months later, he could have gone back. It was a suspension. And he got it in his head, like, if I try out for this, if I somehow make it, I can become a mentor to these kids that I don't even know yet.
Mhm.
This is what this guy did. And it's, I haven't spoiled it. It's not a movie about surprises. You have to go and see the movie and the way it plays out. And also, it's really about the way it makes you feel. You're going to laugh out loud. You're going to cry, and you're going to leave the theater feeling really good. I think we could all use that. And I will
Oh, yeah.
like one
Go ahead.
person after another has been coming up to me and writing me who the screenings we've done, people with tears in their eyes. And what I've been getting this feeling is, like, one person said, "This was like an elixir. I needed this. I needed this kind of a movie." I can't tell you the last time a movie made me feel this way, is what I've been hearing a lot. And that's wonderful, because to me, I want to entertain you, but I also want to make you feel something. You know
Yep.
what I mean? To
Yeah.
laugh, to cry, to feel, exhilarated. Man, like I'm a huge sports fan, huge.
Mm,
And why do we watch the Olympics every 2 years?
mm.
Because it's not just for the sports; it's for the human stories.
Those moments of the person down and can they come back? And and you've talked about it, talking about the movie. You've talked about it's about humility, it's about regret, it's about redemption, and talk about the regret and the humility part. I was fascinated by that because we all have regret, and it's one of the things that I have to work on a lot with myself. My wife is really great at like focus, compartmentalize, moving forward. I'm
Well,
always
I
like,
think
oh
men
man, I
hold
wish I did. You know
I
what I mean?
think
Like,
men beat themselves up for longer. I think
you
women
think
are much
so?
more emotionally resilient than men.
Yeah,
Well, I think they're just more emotionally intelligent than men by and large,
yeah.
but honestly, because men sort of, close themselves off to certain feelings and certain emotions, so they just deal with things, they just lock it up, you
Mm,
know, instead of, sort of looking at it and going like, "Hey, man, why am I still torturing myself over this moment that happened 35 years ago? That
mm.
I said this to this person, or we got in this argument, and there are things that we hold on to, and yeah, we function through our lives, but there are things that you look back at and you face palm and you wish you could have a second take at. We all have those,
Do
right?
you have anything in particular that sort of stands out that
Well,
sort of
sure, sure.
yeah,
There are a number of little, things that
yeah.
I look back at in my life, and I shake my head, and and I've had to do some work to go back and look at those things and make them better.
Mm,
And it's just really a very healthy thing to do. It's a healthy thing to look at your life, and you know, my father said to me, you want to spend like it's like 90% versus 10%. 90% of your time moving forward and experiencing the moment, what's happening
mm,
and and your goals and what you're going for. And 10% reflection. You need that 10% of time reflecting.
yeah.
But you don't want to spend much more time than that reflecting on the past, because if you're looking in the rearview mirror too long, you're going to run
Yeah.
into a street.
I think
Uh,
that's a better word. That R word is better than the regret word. I think reflection sort of is about right. Like it's
right.
trying to sort of learn from that thing in the past, but not use it to beat yourself up, which is what
Right.
I tend to do sometimes. It'll be like,
We all do.
I just did this,
And
you
then
know.
you're wasting your time right now. You're
Right,
flagellating,
right.
you're beating
Yeah,
yourself up instead
right.
of just going like, okay, also, hey man, I was 18. Hey, I was,
That's right. Yeah,
my
yeah.
frontal lobe wasn't
Right.
fully
Yeah,
formed yet. I was kind of
yeah.
half an idiot. You know what I mean? And you say things and do things that make you face palm when
Yeah,
you
we always think, especially at that age, 18, 19, 20. Well, we're adults now, or whatever. It's just
yeah, okay.
yeah, exactly. And like, by the way, I want to thank you for this therapy session. I will send you a
You're
check.
welcome.
I feel so much better. Now,
Okay, I'm
what
sending
about
you a bill. Fine.
you said it was the humility part for this character for Mike is
The
the
humility,
ability.
what I love about it is the humility of forgive me for interrupting,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
the
no.
humility of the nature of the story itself, because it's humble in its nature, and that it isn't sensationalized. This guy doesn't go and become, spoiler alert. Yeah, it just isn't blown out and sensationalized. Some movies say this is based on a true story. This says this is a true story.
Hmm.
So it's true what happens in this movie. I mean, there are a couple of scenes that were put in there for as a function of storytelling, but primarily this happened. These things happened, and it's you'll understand it when you see it. It's not, again, sensational. It's true, and there's a humility in it. It's not, Hollywood over the top. It's something that's wonderful that happened, that because of the way this guy, his true heart's intention to help, and to get over his own wounds.
Well, if you went the sensation route, it would have watered down the impact of all of these emotions and the message. And I think you're right. We're in a culture now where I think we want to connect more. I think, we're so divisive, and this isn't about politics per se, but that's bled
No,
into
I absolutely feel that
how
we
we need it. And so you said it was one of the most, I mean, you've done some really a broad range of work. And so, but you said it's one of the more most gratifying roles that you played. Why is that?
for that reason. Listen, I was a bridge builder when I was in high school. My whole life, I've been a bridge builder. Um,
You
I
seem
would.
like the kid. You seem like the kid in high school that everybody liked and got along with, all the cliques and
Yeah, and
stuff like that.
I brought groups together that normally would never have interacted. Like I was the
And this
captain.
makes you. This makes you. I'm going to let you finish, but this makes you such a great actor because I mean I'm an actor too, but I haven't achieved what you achieved. But one of the things you try to do is imbue a little bit of your own personality into the role you have, and still be true to the role and everything that you do. I've never met you before, but I always feel like he seems like a cool guy, like would be a nice guy to be friends with, and like an honorable friend. But anyway, but
I
you were the
say
guy in
that.
high school, right? Yeah.
Well, no, but I mean, in high school, when I was, my senior year, for example, I was the captain of my football team. But the guys poked fun at me. They called me Juliet because I was in a production of Romeo and Juliet. You know what I mean? I was, I was in, I hung out with the heads and the different groups, and I was a musician. So I brought groups together that wouldn't normally interact. And I think we need a lot of that. There's
Yeah.
such divisiveness, there's such division and otherization. And that we have to get past that. Because when it comes down to the ground, when people talk person to person, you realize, we're just like each other.
We're
This,
connected. Yeah. Yeah. I
you
have a
know,
show. I have a show that I've been doing, a theater show that we're now taking on tour called Permission to Speak. And the premise is we're divisive and disconnected, but if we get together and share stories, we realize we have more in common than we think. And it's directed by Frank Oz. And it was born out of my stand up and talking to audiences. And it wasn't crowd work or insult stuff. It was just like you ask a question, another question, and you get these like mind blowing stories. And you realize everybody out there has a story. And some people want, and some people need to tell their story. So now it turned into this stage show where I bring people on stage and we just start talking and we get these incredible stories. And then after the show, people aren't leaving right away because they're going up to each other going, "Oh, you're from Lowell, Mass. I'm from Lowell, Mass. Oh, you're a red Sox-" And then for 5 minutes, people are being human beings to each other. So I think that's what's so great about your movie is I think it'll help connect people. And I think we need that right now.
100%.
Yeah.
Well said. Well
Yeah.
said.
Do you
By the way,
have let me
you
ask you a quick, yeah, it's like, you have like acted in film, acted in television. Do you find um the difference in terms of like TV where you can sort of explore the arc of a character over several years, whereas a film, even if it's a sequel, that's limited? Is that
well, there are
how do you
pros
feel
and
about that?
cons to both things. I've made my bones. Well, I was a snob when I was a kid. I came out of the theater,
Mm,
grew up in the theater, and always intended to just go into film. It was a different era too. Television and film were demarcated, very different, right?
right.
Uh, uh, and then through circumstance, we make plans, and then things happen, right? So
Yeah.
I ended up making my bones in television because the film world was largely closed off to me. Um, so one thing I've loved, especially in the era starting with The Shield and shows like Sopranos, is this sort of continuum where it wasn't episodic. The commission was episodic television, right? Where
Hmm.
every show was like its own thing and it could stand alone, and you didn't have to look at the rest of the show. But
Hmm.
The Shield was a storyline, right? And I did love that. I will say that was phenomenal to be able to really explore the arc of a character's history for 7 years. That was extraordinary. But there is something to be said, for just a simple like this is, yeah, an hour and 40 minutes. It's a beginning, a middle, and end, and it's compartmentalized. The tough thing about this is the marketing of it for me. And forgive me for making that transition, but I want to motivate people to get to the theater and see this movie because we're a
Mm.
little independent film.
Mhm.
Have the publicity and advertising budgets of the majors.
Yeah.
So we're like David and Goliath here. We're trying to get the word out. It's all on me to tell people to spread the word to get to the theater because you have your weekend or two or maybe three, and,
Mhm.
and then it's out of there. And you want people to see it on the big screen, right?
Absolutely.
The reason I became an actor really was going to the cinema and
Yeah.
seeing, you know, the greats like Robert Redford in The Natural, for
Mm.
example. That
Mm.
made me go, oh, I want to do that.
Well,
You know, that
you used to do impressions of Cagney when you were a kid. I mean, you are
of
obviously
the
locked
world,
in.
mom. Yeah, all that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
you're right.
I
There's a
love
power
those
in the theater.
guys.
Mhm.
Powerful to be in the theater, and you know, it's different than being at home. And I think that we went through a time of convenience where we got to have these big 65-inch, 85-inch screens
Mhm.
at home, and you know, COVID especially locked that in. But those things are turning around now because you have cabin fever. You know, you want humanity. You want to be
Yeah.
amongst people. And I'm telling you, you go and see the senior in a theater, you start rooting like you're in a crowd. You know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing,
Different
because
experience.
when you're in a theater and people should see this movie in particular in a theater because there's a subtle sort of subconscious thing that happens is that we're connecting emotionally in the viewing experience. We're in a
Right.
sense talking to each other
Yeah.
through our emotional reaction. And, I might think the thing that just happened is funny and everybody else that's here might be like, ah, I freaked out. Like, okay, well, that tells me something emotionally. And so and I think we need more movies like this. And I think it's great that it's in the theater because I do think that this sounds like the perfect movie that like you've got this ability to connect with people and have a real moment with people, which is what they want, not make it sensationalized, but also make it relatable. It sounds like this is the kind of thing that like pretty much anybody has had some moment in their life where they look back and go, boy, if I could have a redo, I would do a redo with this. And that's why I think this just
Wonderful.
resonates with it.
So spot on, man. It's been wonderful to see people, to have people write me, call me, really emotional and saying, you know, because I saw this, you know, this has nothing to do with football, but I reached out to an old friend of mine and we got together and we had lunch and we just had such a wonderful reconnection. And, you know, and a lot of the things that I was all screwed up about in my head, you didn't even care. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You know, and you find out the things, even some of the things that you're still holding on to, yeah, you forgot about it for years. You didn't even care about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, oh
Right.
my God, I spent all that time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, human connection right now, man.
Uh,
And it sounds kind of woo woo for a football movie, and it's not. It's just no, it isn't. It isn't at
no,
all.
it all makes sense. And I can't encourage people enough to go see it. And it's in the theaters now. And I just want you to wrap up anything else you want to say, but it's really great to have you on.
Listen, this was a great interview because you know usually when you're pushing in you know a sports film, it's all rah rah and everything, and we got kind of heavy and deep today, which is good because you know it's one of those movies that really moves you, and
Yes.
you know, but there's a lot of laughs in it, and I do want to encourage people to go together. You know, take your whole family and go and see this picture because you're gonna have a wonderful movie experience where have some dinner, go and see the movie, and then go home smiling and laughing and talking about the different scenes. And my cast is so wonderful: Mary Stuart Masterson, Rob
Oh,
Corddry,
she's great.
you
Yeah.
know, really wonderful. And the boys are amazing in this picture. They're so
Is
cute.
that right? Listen, don't sell yourself short because and I'm going to be crass and use this term. Your brand is you're the guy that you want to root for. If you're putting something out there, I'm watching it because you're such a great actor. You're a real actor. You're honest. I don't feel you're, pulling sleight of hand with me. And there's
No,
just
I
a
can't do
legitimacy
that.
to you.
I can't do that. You know, people have said to me in the past, and I'll finish with this, is that, you know, hey, you know, you're an actor, you must be a great liar. And I'm like, no, I know it's counterintuitive, but it's antithetical to that. The whole
Every
thing I'm trying to do is tell the truth
Yes.
of the
My
story.
acting teachers have hammered that into me. As my acting coach now, Bob Krakauer out in New York says, You're telling stories and pictures. That's what you're doing. And as long as you're in service of the story, it's not about you and how good you look in the scene. As long as you're connected in your scene with your partner and you're telling the story that the writers and director want to tell, you'll be fine. And that's what you do brilliantly. Yes. So the movie's a senior. Please go see it in theaters. Support this movie, everybody. There's a lot of content out there coming at you from 8 billion platforms right now. So we're helping Michael cut through the din here. If you want to come back and replug it down the road, if it's going to, if it's going to platforms, come back. I could talk to you all day, but it's been wonderful to have you on.